Welcome everyone to the first episode in our fall series of Zagging 101. I just want to thank you all so much for being here, and I'm going to have Guy kind of explain the zagging part of this, our name. So go ahead, Guy.
Sure. So basically, guys, we came up with Zagging 101 because basically we wanted to be in the business of helping everyone with their social media. While others are zigging, we want to zag. And so we've come up with our mantra, while others zig, we zag. All that means is when you're in marketing and you see a lot of people going this direction, the zag is where you cut right across it. And that's at that intersection, that's that zag that's going to grab attention for your brand. It's going to allow people, it gives you the opportunity to grab people's attention and also really set the tone for what you're doing and how you're innovating. So it's kind of our way of thinking.
So to build off that, I just kind of want to go into our mission. So our core mission exists to help HPE professionals develop a influence, impact, and advocacy through social media.
So I'm co-host Guy Danhoff, as you guys can see there. I'm involved in social media as MOSHAPE's Director of Digital Media and Promotions, as well as for Missouri Healthy Schools through the CDC grants. And also at the national level, I am a strategist and specialize in live video with Shape America. I'm also a co-author on the textbook Health Fitness Management, in which I wrote a chapter dedicated strictly to digital marketing. And last but not least, I'm an assistant professor of health and sports sciences at Missouri Baptist University, basically where I teach classes like fitness management, like sport communications and sport marketing.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lauren Krebs. I'm also the co-host of Zagging 101. So I kind of started in this position by being the Missouri Coordinated School Health Coalition digital media consultant. I also am a freshman counselor at Missouri Baptist University, and we're kind of many hats, and I am a soccer and softball coach. I played soccer at Missouri Baptist University as well. I'm a dog mom to a cute little Great Pyrenees lab mix, and I am coffee obsessed, as I am on the third one today. So that's a little bit about me.
So basically, guys, one of the things we always like to do is have a quote. And our quote for this session is really kind of interesting. And it's this: the goal is to turn data into information, and then information into insight. And as we get set to really rock and roll this thing, you're going to find out why data is so important and how it can help you navigate through your social media marketing strategy. So with that, Lauren, why don't you just take us away on what are the top 3 mistakes as we've looked at 2020?
All right. So number 1, posting random acts of content. And I'm going to kind of define that as like a lack of cohesive direction and plan. And so if you're not creating content with a plan, you may be wasting an opportunity to cut through all of the social media information and different things like that. So, and you're not conditioning your audience to know your consistency and knowing what you're bringing to the table. So with that, I want you guys to kind of think about this right now. What do you want to be known for in 2 years? Like, I feel like that is kind of a way to start the process of not posting random acts of content. So like, what is your aim? What is your goal that you're wanting to accomplish? And I always think of like, you know, like the little scrawny guy on a basketball team, and he runs to the basket and shoots, and everybody's like, because he shot at the wrong basket. So I always think of the quote by Mike Schaffner, who says, just goes to show you, it doesn't matter how well you execute if your strategy is wrong in the first place. So I'm going to kind of gear that over to Guy about the number 2 mistake.
So the second thing is, guys, one of the greatest things that I love about digital marketing that I actually did my doctoral research on, and that's really looking at the strategy. But within strategy, you got to look at the data. Here's what's great for us as marketers today. Did you know that every single platform of social media has its own set of analytics that usually they provide for free? Yes, Twitter has analytics. Facebook has insights. So does Instagram. So we have all this data, but I have to ask the question, one of the mistakes that I've seen repeatedly in my doctoral research is how many organizations ignore the data that's being generated. And when you ignore the data, how can you make informed decisions? So this is going to be something we're going to be camping out on a little bit. And that's why that quote is so important, that if we're not using the data, then how can we turn it into information? Then from information, how can we turn it into something that we can actually make useful, which is starting to draw a conclusion. So with that, Lauren, why don't you take us to the third mistake that we've seen?
Yeah, so number 3, no strategy to repurpose your content. Guy is actually going to really dive deep into the next slide on this. But the thing that I want to kind of reiterate is if you are not repurposing your content, you're actually wasting your time. When you create this great content, you can either, for instance, if you have like a 10-minute interview, you can break it up into 5 2-minutes or 10 1 minutes. And those are kind of called, we've been calling them micro moments. And that way you have this big content that with our attention span these days that we've been saying is very minimal. That way you have that and they'll actually be able to watch it. And then on the other hand, we use the ICYMI, which is in case you missed it. And if you have a really great topic that's doing trending and doing really well, making sure you posting that. And if you're not, you're again kind of wasting your time and wasting that effort of that great video or different things that you could be doing. So with that, Guy, you want to go?
Yeah, so basically, guys, here's the whole thrust of today. This is the most important part. Basically, we want to help identify what are the top 3 ways that you can avoid making these mistakes moving forward. And I do mean permanently. All I can tell you is that in every group I've ever managed, anyone's social media, the most recent obviously has been our state association with MOSHAPE. And where our pivot started is when we developed this cohesive strategy. We stopped the random acts of content. We stopped just randomly putting things out. And if you look today, what we've done with our strategy, we stream 4 pieces of content out a week. On Monday, we have the MOSHAPE Minute. On Tuesday, we have Tasty Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have Speaker Spot. They just went live, or they just posted their content yesterday. And then, of course, now we have Zagging 101. This is a tool or a resource to help professionals get better at this. And the starting point is going to be that cohesive strategy, because planning to fail is a sure plan to fail. I'm sorry, I said it backwards. Not planning is going to be a sure plan to fail. And that's true. And I just see so many organizations, they just stick with this random acts. Not saying that they don't make a little blip on the map once in a while, but if you're going to have anything, you want to deliver promise, you want to have consistency. You want to be able to establish your brand and what does it stand for, as Lauren was saying. That's why developing the strategy is so key, as you want to grow and expand your influence, your impact, and your advocacy. So now take us into the analytics, Lauren.
So number 2, analyze data and draw conclusions. I'm going to kind of tell a story about this. So in my previous job, I was program manager, and then they just tacked on the social media manager as well onto that, not seeing it as such a important factor in the organization. It was a nonprofit, so we had minimal staff. However, with my internship in my master's program, I took on a campaign and did it over the course of 4 days, working with the NHL, the USA Hockey, and different things. And after I completed that, I actually drew up and grabbed the analytics from 2018 till 2019 when I did it. And the increase actually provided the executive director so much information that they hired a position on to do the social media, because she saw how much the advocacy, and her biggest thing was brand awareness. So she saw that how many people that she could influence and see what they've been doing and all the amazing things these athletes do. So just wanting to reiterate how important it is to analyze data and draw conclusions. And that way you can truly show, and it's not just an opinion, but you can show the facts, and data drives decision, as Guy says multiple times. And that way, that's where you're going to really start stepping towards the right direction. And Guy, do you want to kind of finish off with number 3?
Yeah, I think I've said this on every episode. I'm going to say it again, guys. If I took one thing, honestly, guys, one thing, one key takeaway, if you just did this, I'm going to make a promise. I promise you, you will double, triple, or even quadruple your reach and your effectiveness in your social media efforts. Because if you repurpose your content, we've got now years of data that we've collected at MOSHAPE. We have years of data in some of the other accounts that I work for. And I'm going to give you 3 ways you can repurpose, okay? The first way, the simplest way would be, is let's say you put out, like, say, like a video, and maybe you're doing something like Health Moves Minds, and you put out a video, and you're talking about the new, August incentive programs, okay? And then the next day, here's the thing you got to realize, guys. According to Hootsuite, there are four media cycles of which people consume content. So if you launch it, say like 6 or 7 a.m., that's going to last basically in that AM and then all the way through that lunch time. Your posts are probably going to last about 4 to 5 hours. And then at that point, if you want to retweet it, great. It gets you another, 4 to 5 hours that people can see in other, media cycles, because different people consume at different times. But the reason why you want to go back to the next day and say immediately, in case you missed it, is simply because it's a good possibility someone actually missed your content. And all I can tell you, just a great, again, using data, we did this with SpakerSpot last week with their promotion video. And when we put out their first video, it eventually got to 1,000 views on that teaser video they did for their Brick the Click series. Then when we put out 4 repurposes over 7 days, and we put them out at different time zones, yes, we even put in the time zone for the Pacific time zone around 9 o'clock, so it'd be 7 o'clock out there. And believe it or not, we saw an increase of another 25% of more people engaging on our content. So that's the easiest thing you can do. The second way you can do it, as Lauren said, you can take your content. So you have a big interview, you can break it down into smaller parts. Maybe you have a great soundbite. Maybe you want to lead with that for your repurpose, then put your other link for your full content there. That's another easy way to do it. Now, here's the third way. This is the way the top pros in the industry do it. This is the way like a Gary Vee. Now, I know he's out there, but here's the way these top pros do it. He might take a 50-minute webinar, and no joke, he can take that information and he can splice it into anywhere from 16 to 30 micro pieces of content. In other words, once you have the video and the audio, you can strip the video and only use the audio, and you can make a podcast from it. How cool is that? You can make a blog off it. And that's what's kind of cool with all this technology, that you're going to be able to do these things if you want to repurpose to that level. Now, I know MOSHAPE's not there yet, but we're starting to do that. And we're going to be doing that more and more as we get into the school year, because that is something that we can start doing, because we're creating that much content that we can repurpose and get it out through more channels. So that's what I mean by repurpose. There's different levels to this that you can just jump in on, but that's all I can tell you is the analytics have shown double, triple, or quadruple when you do this consistently. And that's the rationale of why we do it. So with that, Lauren, I guess I'm going to stop talking for a little bit. Why don't you talk to everyone about our new guest?
All right. So our special guest, the one and only Michelle Huff. So she is a physical education VP-elect, and she is the NJ Health Moves Minds coordinator. And I'm going to throw it over to you, Michelle.
Okay. Thanks, Lauren. And thank you, Guy, for inviting me to be your special guest today, and MOSHAPE. I feel blessed to be here, and I am just so excited about Zagging 101. It's had a huge impact on me with my social media content and what my purpose is, and making sure that what I'm putting out there is really what I want my audience to know about me and who I am, not only on the internet, but who I am as a person in real life. So, yep, I'm a health and PE teacher. Judy LoBianco, she just handed over the torch to me to be our New Jersey State Health Moves Minds coordinator this August, so it's my first month. And I just really, thank you. I just really believe in Health Moves Minds, and just the fact of building, you know, a kinder and healthier world together and serving one another in purposeful ways, because, you know, we all have gifts, and just using them to help our world be a better place. So a little bit about me.
So welcome, Michelle. With that, you know how it works here. We got some questions for you. We know that we want to deliver great quality content to our viewers. So Lauren, let's fire up the first question.
All right.
So here it is. You just heard us identify the 3 social media mistakes that we see at this point in 2020, especially since COVID. What I'd like to know, 2-part question, which of the 3 social media mistakes have you made? And then the second part, what steps have you taken to avoid them permanently?
Okay, so for that first part, 3 social media mistakes that I've made are that, 1, sometimes I put more words into my tweets and into my posts than needs to be to get my purpose across. So sometimes less is more. That's what I'm learning. And to be strategic about it, which I've learned from actually your show, from Zagging 101. But that's something that I know in the past has been a mistake. Sometimes I'm a little bit extra because it's kind of my personality, but I need to always remember the purpose behind it. Another thing is consistency. And just like everything in life, like you got to stay consistent, because people need to know that you're going to be there for them and that they can count on you, whether that's your students, you know, your players, if you coach a team, your family, your friends. So does our Twitter world or whatever social media. So you can't just like go vogue for like a month and not let them know. They're expecting to see you, you know? So that's one thing that I learned, to be more consistent. And a third one would be putting up posts or maybe retweeting things that are not relevant to my audience. Mm-hmm. So kind of exactly what you were saying with the random posts, mm-hmm. having to really take into consideration, like, okay, my Twitter world is my education world, my health and PE people, and, you know, professionals throughout education. So posting things that aren't relevant to them, that's not going to hit home. And so I need to take that into account. So that's part 1.
All right, Lauren, fire away.
Wait, should I do what I've taken to avoid them or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay, so to avoid them, I've learned from you all to start, I guess I kind of answered that, but I'll just like bullet point. Strategic planning. I always learn from my bishop that planning and preparation is key to life. So planning, preparation, being strategic, and just knowing your audience.
Oh,
perfect.
So good.
All right, Lauren, put her on the hot seat.
All right, so I feel like this is a big one. So what impact have you seen by taking these actions from Zagging 101?
Well, first, I love your picture there. I feel like you're really staring at me in it like, girl, like, what impact have you seen? So after watching a few episodes, I'm like, you know what? This zagging thing, it's clearly working for MOSHAPE. Why don't I try this formula out? So I went to one of my posts from May, because I wrote it all out. I'm a note taker, visual learner. So in May, I had posted Shape America. My sister and I had done 4 different Health Moves Minds videos. So I had posted that in May. And then I decided, oh, hey, why not, like a week or 2 ago, to repost that. Because, you know, one of the major things you say about social media is the repurposing. So I repurposed that tweet, and I ended up getting 4 times the amount of audience, the amount of impact, engagement, retweet. So that was like my first thing. of impact. So that's when I'm like, okay, so like clearly there's like a method to all this. And then when I was talking to Guy about, you know, how that happened and the 4 times from that, he's like, well, you know, that you could also repurpose them individually. And I was like, mind blown, like, you're right. So then I decided, I didn't tell him this, but I'm glad that he approved of the tweet after. It took me a half an hour. Anna knows that too. But I was very strategic about it. And what I decided to do was repurpose those 4 videos and add another one on for tomorrow, but repurpose them and put them for one day each of the week. So one on Monday, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, one on Thursday, and one on Friday. And so I've seen already like the fruit of that is even more than what the original repurpose was with the 4 times. I mean, I'll have to definitely get all the analytics to that, but just seeing it and the engagement, it's been great. And I really hope, and people will see this later on, because I have, you know, more ideas coming up, but I really hope that these videos are helping them in their content, in what they're doing in their life, like even just them individually. Like everything I do has a purpose behind it, or what's the point of doing it? And that's always what I tell my students is like, you always want to know why. Like, why are we learning this? Because if you don't know why we're learning about a mindful minute and how it can improve your overall health and wellness and enhance your life, then what's the point? So that's what I really want to know that my audience is receiving. And, you know, I'm praying that that will be the outcome, but that's what I'm going to continue to pour out. And as I see, you know, the engagement, like it's flowing. So there's clearly strategy, purpose behind all this.
Wow, Michelle, that was an amazing answer. Holy cow. So Guy, you want to finish us off with this last question?
Yeah, you know, it's going to be big and bold. So here it is. You know, Michelle, you know, we've had a lot of discussions. I've seen your work. I see what you're doing in New Jersey. It's really inspiring. But overall, how has Zagging 101 helped your influence, your impact, and your advocacy now that you're starting to leverage social media?
I would say that Zagging 101 has helped me not only for what has worked in my life and has worked throughout my teaching, but it has helped me see what everybody is doing. That there's so many, our profession and educators, there's so many gifts that people have all around our world. And what people are putting out there is so impactful. And so it's like I could put out this thing and then somebody is really good at a Google Docs or the Bitmoji classrooms, and everybody's sharing with one another. So I love the fact that Zagging 101 is individualized to your content. It's not like, oh, you have to do it this way. You know, it's like it could fit for me just like it could fit for somebody who is, you know, really into a different part of education as well, or actually anything in business realistically, because this is how you gain your audience, gain your trust with your audience, and, you know, really have an impact. And that's just what I hope to, you know, bring to our social media world and just life in general.
Well, thank you, Michelle, for that. And it's always great having someone on that, seeing that instant impact, because guys, this is why we do this. You know, this is all based on data. This is all based on research. I've spent literally 5 years of my life, you know, studying strategy and social media, specifically in my doctorate work. And I've been blessed to have all these different opportunities to do these things. And so with that, Michelle, I mean, the bottom line is I love hearing your stories and other guests that we've had on previous episodes, because you guys are on the front lines making the difference. All we're trying to do is just help better equip you so that you have more tools and you have more tactics that you can use to really connect with your audience in a very powerful way. And we're so glad to have you. So with that, Lauren, why don't you kind of wrap us up?
All right. So I just want to thank you all so much for watching our first episode of our fall series of Sagging 101. If you guys could take 1 minute to put in a key takeaway, that helps us so much kind of know what content you guys like best and what we can really emphasize on in the next episodes. So if you guys could take a minute and do that, and then we'll go into what we'll be bringing next week.
And while they're taking that minute, Anna, look what I made. This is a mini version of what MOSHAPE does. This is my picture frame, everyone. For Health Moves Minds. Obviously, I'm not up to your level yet. Okay, I have to, but I have to show you because I know all of you, all the HMM leaders in MOSHAPE, you guys all have your signs. So I'm like, let me show the sign. Let me make one jersey. Oh, and Guy, I did have to bring this. The shades. I had to bring the shades for you.
Well, you know what? Considering I'm wearing my shades in our slides with our thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with you guys, while you guys are finishing that, again, if you're one of my students, could you guys please make sure you tell me who you are and what class you're in, just so that I can go ahead and know that you guys are here. The other thing is I do have a announcement to make. And this is kind of exciting, guys. We have some brand new resources coming out on behalf of MOSHAPE. If you tune in tomorrow at noon Central Time, MOSHAPE is going to be putting out a special edition MOSHAPE Minute. We're going to have a group of panelists, and you're going to hear about one of what I've seen is one of the most extensive resources for teachers, and it's all based on the research is whether you're doing indoor, outdoor, or virtual, and it's certainly all based on all the kinds of different types of skills. I mean, it's just real elaborate. So you guys will get a chance to see that. We're also, at that same time, we're actually going to release the resource itself. You'll be able to find it in multiple places. This was a project that was funded by DESE, and we're really excited to share it with you guys tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow at 12 for a special edition MOSHAPE Minute that I'll be hosting this amazing panel of experts. And they're going to tell you kind of behind the scenes of how this whole resource document based on COVID has come about to give you the latest resources at your fingertips that you can use right now, today, in your teaching. So just want to kind of give a shout out to that. And with that, what I'm going to do, guys, now is, Lauren, why don't you kind of wrap us up?
Yeah, so next week, we will be going into the social media strategy. And Guy, you want to release our special guest?
Yeah, guys, we're going to be joined by, from MOSHAPE, right here in the Show Me State. We're going to have Sarah. I'm just going to say how I always know her from Twitter handle, Sarah GH. We're going to be joined by Sarah, and I've had the privilege and opportunity of working with Sarah last year at Shape Tampa, on some very cool things with social media. This is someone who is high energy. She's just brilliant. She's just a great person. And I've just there's so much more to learn from her, because next week we're going to start breaking down some strategy that you can use either personally, or if you're thinking about getting your own content together, or even like in Sarah's case, how she's made herself a great resource by doing the various things on social media. She's been a presenter at the national level all the way to many MOSHAPEs and MOAFERDs through the years. And we're so excited to have her come on next week as we talk about that. And with that, guys, what I'm going to do is go ahead and stop the recording now.